Welcome back to New Amsterdam Radio, the podcast for creative thinkers and doers. It is I, the mayor, Flobo voice in the mayor's office with someone who took an idea and is running with it. SafeWave technology is a way that is revolutionary in its own right. When we have the CEO here to discuss it, please welcome Trevon Brook, man. Thank you so much for being on the show here.
Of course, man. I appreciate you having me, man. It's always a pleasure to get on and do stuff like this, brother.
Oh man, I can't believe it. The CEO life, the entrepreneurial life. Before we even get into the product and services, how's that feel? What does that mean to you when someone goes, "Hey, you're a CEO"?
Really, man, I don't really look at the title as much. I know it's kind of like people feel like it's fancy because it's this pretty title, but I more so look at the responsibility behind it. I think that everybody's a CEO in their own way in their own life. So really, the title's not much, man, but it does feel good seeing something that you took leadership with, built, and you're able to enjoy it and share it with everybody else. So that's the best part of it, I think.
That's what I'm talking about. So let's talk about it. SafeWave technology has an interesting origin story. I was actually researching this the other day about a solution for deaf and hard of hearing people. I know you probably told the story a billion times, but there's one more time. How did it come about? What was the story behind it?
Oh, for sure, man. So one day what I was doing is I was sleeping at home and I heard a fire alarm go off. Fire alarm woke me up. I'm sure everybody's had an experience like that. And of course, went downstairs, checked my surroundings, everything like that. There was no threat right away. So I kind of got frustrated. And I was like, man, it's woke me up out of the well-needed rest. And from there, man, basically, I kind of humbled myself, became grateful because, it could have went the other way, right? Where I couldn't have heard it and it could have been something serious. So that kind of made me step back, look into it a little bit and realize like, man, there's people who are deaf in this world. There's people who are hard of hearing. What type of solutions are out there? So we researched a little bit. I reached out to one of my co-founders, Jarrett, and asked him, I said, man, go research this for me. See if you could find some type of solution for the deaf and hard of hearing that will notify them if a fire went off in their house or somebody broke in or something like that. After a week of research, came back, found nothing. So fast forward a little bit to 2019, we went to a local university here in Northern Kentucky called Northern Kentucky University. Once we took it to them, they said the same thing. Man, this sounds very generic. You're just creating a vibration-based solution in the form of a wristband that'll notify people and wake them up. It sounds super generic. They ended up looking it up themselves. When they looked it up themselves, they found nothing. So from there, they sent us to the number 2 pitch competition in the country down in Texas. We competed down there, came back, and I guess you can say from there, the business model really became structured, and that's really when we started. So it all started off of really just being awakened in the morning, like annoyed a little bit. But from there, man, the vision was created and we went.
I love the story, but there has to be a moment there when something happens. If you go, someone's to do something, la da 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 da, but you actually said, no, someone should do something, and it's going to be me. Yeah. What made you go, no, this is a solution. This is a problem that I may have a solution for.
I think really what it was is when we thought like, man, this is so simple, yet it's not being implemented. So whenever we were telling people about this product, people would look at it more so, and they would feel like something's out there. So if we're describing something that we feel should already naturally be out there, we feel like we just discovered something that is natural. It should be out there already. But on top of that, I think while, talking to some potential customers and, other founders, we bumped into a very unique individual down in Texas while we were at this competition I was talking about. His name was Cameron Ross, and he was actually deaf himself. So we talked to Cameron Ross, this deaf founder, and we asked him like, man, what happens if somebody breaks in or a fire alarm goes off in your home? And he kind of joked and he said, no, we die. And I was like, no, really, man, like we're creating a device that could really help in a situation like this. What do you do? And he looked at us and got serious and said, no, really, we die. So I think at that point, that's really when we found our purpose. And we really realized that, hey, we might have just cracked the code and really created something that could help, a large demographic of people.
So walk me through this. The band is a standalone product. Is it part of an app? Is it a special kind of watch? For someone who hasn't seen the product live, what is it?
Yeah, so almost think of an Apple Watch. Not the Apple Watch itself, not the face, but think of the band. So you got this rubber band, and we place 3 motors in the bottom of it that align to the wrist. So what it does is essentially just vibrate. So the wristband, think of it like that. It's standalone. So the vibration motors are in the wristband. The chip itself is in the wristband. The battery to recharge it is in the wristband. You don't need no Apple Watch face, anything like that. It's all the technology is in the band. So this band then connects to a mobile app. And the mobile app almost is kind of like a central hub that connects to security systems. So
Yeah.
if you have ADT, Simply Safe, Ring, any type of smart communication type of security system, smart alarms, whatever it may be, what our app does is it connects. So our app will connect to the band, and the app would also connect to the security system. So it's almost
Hmm.
like a line that's being communicated back and forth. The security system will shoot a notification to the app shoots it to the band, and vice versa, that type of thing. So
And it's supposed to be worn all day, or is it kind of like when you go to sleep? Like, how is it supposed
um,
to be? This use case.
it just depends on, I think, the purpose of being used. So for example, the deaf and hard of hearing community, the deaf plus community, what they would do is they would wear this, and honestly, any situation they're at home that they wanted to, because it's going to connect to any sensors that you have on windows or doors, or your security system, or your fire alarm, whatever it may be. Whereas you also have security systems like the outlet, which is targeting for those, mothers and fathers that are new parents, and they had babies. And sometimes individuals who bring their baby home from like a NICU department or something like that. So they have cameras and they have a sock that you could put on the baby to monitor the heartbeat. So in this case, it would be for parents that they would throw the wristband on, and now they're not waiting on their phone to notify them if their baby's heartbeat drops a little bit, right? So if you have your
Right.
phone sitting on the nightstand and the baby heartbeat drops, you're now hoping that you can either hear the alert or see the phone light up while you're sleeping or even resting. So what we did is we almost took that peace of mind a little bit further by implementing the feel, the touch on the wrist itself in a sensitive area, to be notified instead of relying on that sound and that vision.
Let's take a step back then. So you got the idea, you have the research, you have the prototype, it's working well. Now it's that path to launch. I mean, what was launch like for this? And what's the thing you've been the biggest challenge you've come across in launching a SafeWave?
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge at first was, I don't want to say the area is the restraint, but sometimes me being in the Midwest, working on a tech, on top of tech being wearable.
Hmm.
I think sometimes the market around here, it's hard to find the exact talent that was needed. But I was fortunate enough, blessed to have, I think the best team in the world right now. So I think we overcame that challenge. But another big challenge that we sometimes face was just the capital side of things. So everything was bootstrapped. So for 3 or 4 years straight, it was just me and my co-founders just dumping our own personal money in this.
Yeah.
We straight up quit jobs, went straight full time on this and make it happen. So a lot of it really was, just overcoming. I think it was the courage to jump off the porch with the idea and run with it. That
Yeah.
was one of the biggest obstacles. But I think it ended up, one of the biggest obstacles became one of the biggest successes for us. Because once that jump was made, it helped us push forward. So.
So is this our startup life like the movies, or did they get that wrong? Like, what's the thing to get right? What's the thing to get wrong? Is it like Silicon Valley? Is it like betas?
Man, it's the movies make it a lot more prettier than I think what it is. It looks stressful on the films, man. But
Yeah.
I think it's like it's just, man. I think it's something inside of a founder. I think really, it's not even, and that's why I said I think everybody's their own CEO. I think everybody's a CEO in what they do because it's like it's a schedule like anything else. So people wake up and they go to work and they know they're at work for this amount of time. The CEO role is really the same thing, man. It's like you got to wake up. You have to go to calls at certain times and you have to do this at certain times. I think the only difference is that like if I don't show up to the meeting, it really does like detrimentally impact our business. Whereas,
Right.
some other people, you can miss a job here or there, some shit. So I think there definitely is like the high fashion of it, but it's not. It's a lot more work to even get to that point. Like it's a lot of work, a lot of
Oh.
work. But I think anybody can do it.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. I feel like crying half the time, but anyone can do
Anybody can do
it.
it.
Well, I mean, look, man, it's. Do you worry though about having an innovative idea where there are just giant companies that can just go and say we have our own super safe wave? Like how does that work?
Yeah, man. So I'm gonna tell you a story real quick. Just a quick story. When I went to Eastern Kentucky University, so I ended up going to EKU back in like 2013 to 2018, and we brought them the first tech idea I ever brought them was a mobile app, and we went in front of these directors, we presented our mobile app, and it was this all-in-one campus app, and it was the big next thing, right? Well, they ended up taking our concept, pieces of our concept, not our entire concept, but pieces, and they ended up hiring Google to do what we presented to them. So
Wow.
we felt like a slap in the face and like, man, but at the same time, now looking back, it's almost like that was a learning curve for us. We learned. So now we're at the point where I don't feel scared that anybody will steal just because we set up, these patents are in place, these trademarks are in place, and now we put the legality behind it in place. And we also save certain information. We don't put
Yeah,
a lot
yeah,
of,
yeah.
there's a lot of private information we don't put out. So at times we were a little scared in the very beginning, but now we have enough to where we feel very protected. And really, I think the way that we're projecting the growth is we don't think our idea will get stolen. We think that we can scale and we can grow to the point that either we get a major partnership or get acquired. So that's
Sure.
just the vision that we keep, and that's just how we try to think about it. If somebody comes in and they try to compete, then so be it. But I mean, we can't stop it. They're going to make it
Yeah,
happen no matter what. So we're
absolutely.
we're going to get around it. Yep.
I think now we live in a culture, as like they call like the read the label culture, right? We don't just buy products to consume. We want to know the story and team behind it. What is your team like? What's team culture like? What's the vibe at your company? Can you tell us anything about that?
Yeah, man. My team, man, it's a team full of hustlers at the end of the day.
Hmm.
Me myself, I come from a family, single mother, been the man of the house since the age of 12.
Respect.
Just always been a culture, man, and just getting it out of the mud. That's what they say. We get it out the
Yeah.
mud. That's how it is.
Yeah.
So minority based company. I'm a minority founder. My first co-founder that came in, when I made that campus app, I was just speaking about. He took $2,000 with me, and we drove up to New York City, found a development team, and we paid a developer to make an MVP. So that was
Okay.
my first founder. My second founder is a veteran, old Black Hawk mechanic. It's the oldest guy on our team. He's in his 30s. I don't know if I think it's early 30s, but he's in his 30s. I know that.
Oh
um,
wow, grandpa it
yeah,
seems
he's in his
30.
30s, right? So our fourth guy that we brought on is Bogdan, man. He's our developer. He went to the University of Kentucky. He just graduated in December, but he's one of the. I've never met a kid like this. Like it's just insane because we brought on this project in June. Before he graduated college in December 2021. We brought him this project in June, man. And when I tell you he built out the app, we had app sketched down on paper, and he built this thing out in probably, I think it was like 2 weeks, 3 weeks tops. Just
Yeah.
killed it. And he's just all around hustler, man. I've never seen an app developer to move the way he moves. And then Eric, of course, that's who you're talking to. Eric, man. We added Eric on probably 2 months ago, and he's
Yeah.
just been taking us so many places. Like he has us traveling to New York, to Atlanta, and now I feel like the CEO, right? I feel like a
Right.
superstar, but it's because of people like Eric. Though without Eric, I wouldn't be able to, move the way that we move. And then recently, we just brought another lady on, Reagan. That we're still getting her role, hammered down, but she's going to be a crazy piece for us. She's bringing in everything from employees, operations, and all this good stuff. But the culture that we're really building, man, is we're really trying to build a company that is not really have a headquarters. We want everything to be virtual. We want everybody
Hmm.
to be able to work from home. But we're really driven behind the fact of, we want our employees to realize that, families first and work second. So we have a big thing at our company. We pride ourselves on family. A lot of my co-founders have wives and kids. Their needs come before any need in this company right now.
Yeah.
Even in the future, though, when we're growing, right, they get their stuff done. But that's one thing that I want to build, man. Is just a company that puts our workers first, and not just saying that, but really on the spectrum of just like we're at meetings and you got kids running into the background. And it's like the team's
Yeah.
just it's happy. It feels good. It's just I like knowing that my team feels comfortable working from home and working around their family, and there's no restraint or nothing that's too uptight. So
Right.
I'm glad that we're young and we're able to build a culture and do that. So pretty dope.
Yeah, I've always heard from CEOs with product based business, even service business, like the employees 1 through 10 really are special for their own separate way. I don't want to use the word family because but it does have that kind of familial aspect to it, which is pretty dope.
Yeah.
What's been some of the feedback you've been hearing with the launch of SafeWave? You're now in almost a post beta. Are you in launching period? Like, where is the product in, and what are people saying about it?
Yeah, so man, it's been a lot of good feedback. We've also had, I think, a lot of the negative feedback might have been more so as, okay, well, how are you going to compete with Apple and these tech giants and all this stuff? Which, to me, once again, I don't look at it as a negative, because it's like, we're just this small company that came from Covington. You're comparing us to this super giant. Like,
Yeah.
you
Thank
skipped
you.
a lot of people. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. You skipped a lot of people into super giant. But really, man, the feedback has been insane because it's, while we talk to the Deaf Plus community, they're telling us about other communities that could benefit from it and how they can benefit from it. Because one thing you got to understand about the community that we're approaching is that they're overlooked and underserved. So when you're overlooked and underserved, you kind of resonate and you understand the problems that other communities that are overlooked and underserved experience. So I think it's been super great that, us coming in and almost becoming a solution for an overlooked and underserved community. It's really helping us because they're introducing us to other people and they're introducing us to other, demographics that can also benefit from what we're creating. So it's just, once again, it's just the whole, it's an exclusive product, but it's inclusive because, everybody that's ever been underserved and overlooked, it's something to get behind. It's something to put on to feel like you're included in it. And it's a
Yeah.
product made for you. So yeah, man, the it's been really good from the community. And then also you're always going to have the negative aspects of just what if something comes along, but we're prepared for it, so we'll get there.
Right, I got you. Well, I don't want to put you on the spot, but the company isn't called Safe Bands; it's called SafeWave. So I assume there's some roadmap for future products and services. If I don't want to put you on the spot, if you're not ready for it, but what does the roadmap look like 6 months, 12 months, 18 months from now?
Yeah, man. No, so really, so we got the product launch coming up in June. But right now when we roll out, we're really focused on the Deaf Plus community. We're also really focused on expecting parents with the outlet and stuff like that. But down the line, I was actually just yesterday, I was really creating the Gen 2 and Gen 3 because we got a couple other products we want to come out. But we really think we can get into a bunch of other demographics with a bunch of new features. I'm trying to think how to word these features without giving away too much.
Yeah.
So we implemented some things that's going to be able to help. Because like I said, we've been focused on the Deaf Plus community. So when we launch out the Deaf Plus community, they're going to have all these all the glam and all the pretty products and all this stuff. But eventually we got another band that we're going to release with our first one. That's a smaller, cheaper band. But then we'll also have a couple luxury bands that are going to be a little bit bigger, more powerful. We got a couple colors in the works right now.
Yeah.
But really the roadmap, man, hopefully we can get a couple partnerships. We want to eventually, if possible, down the line, see if we can get insurance to cover products like this, just because we feel like it's an accessory to help with, everyday life to life function. It can help humanity. So really, hopefully, 6 to 18 months, we got some big partnerships going with some hospitals, and we could really work towards getting this thing covered by insurance
So I
so that people that need it. Yeah.
just want to jump in there because a lot of times in the old school way of marketing, we always say start off with black, like the Model T, and then whatever. But the fact you're coming out with that identity part to the product is super smart because I know if I was going to partake, I want to be able to be my individual self, not wear a thing. You know what I mean?
Exactly, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. So besides that, man, you got the thing going on to you as a person, as a CEO, as an owner, as a friend, as a member of the community. What gets you going? Are you a 5 o'clock in the morning jog person? Or you work 3 o'clock in the morning and get up at noon? Like, what is like the human aspect of this?
Man, that's a good question. I think it's really just I I let my body kind of determine. So like I think this morning I had a late morning this morning. I woke up this morning at like 10 a.m.
Yeah.
I fell asleep last night at like 2 a.m. though. I got like 8 hours sleep, which is very, very uncommon, but it's good though. But
Yeah.
usually, man, usually my mornings more so. I usually start around, I would say, natural alarm clock is around the 6 a.m. mark. I'll wake up, sit in bed for a little bit, check calendar, stuff like that, and then after that, it's hustling. But there's times too where I could fall asleep at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning and wake up once again at 5 or 6 with an idea and run to the laptop and start working. So
Sure.
it's weird, man. It's like your brain just like will turn on at random points with an idea and like, okay, I have to knock this out real quick. So
Yeah.
it's just weird. It's weird. There's no really set schedule. It's just whatever I'm thinking, whatever I'm in the mood to make it happen, we're gonna make it happen. So
I ask everyone on the show this one, but what does a day off look like? Do you have those?
I'm good. I'm getting better with those. I'm getting so much better with those, man.
Yeah.
And I'm only
Yeah.
because I don't think people realize like an off day for anybody, whether it's you, whether it's me, anybody that's trying to do their own thing. An off day is it's still shooting emails out. It's still, whenever you have your phone on you, you're working whether you know it or not. So
Right.
I could be on Instagram, but I'm not on Instagram using it as I'm using it as a tool to connect. So it's like, even though I'm not working, my brain is always wired to connect with people that can help me move to the next level. So even when I'm not working, I can walk into Starbucks on an off day and bump into somebody, have a conversation, and turn it into how it can help Safeway move forward, right? So
Yeah.
it's just, it's almost integrating it into just your routine, your daily habits, and just autopilot, to where it's just, there's not a such thing as an off day. But like I said, I'm getting better. So sometimes I will, um, I'll get text messages from the team, and we'll talk, and they'll try to get on the call, and I might jump on for 5 or 10 minutes, try to make it fast. But there's not really no off days. But I'm getting better at it, man. I think everybody should have an off day, just for mental health. So I'm a big
Yeah.
advocate for mental health too, and I think that off days are it's a necessity for mental health to help burnout. So
I'm listening to you, Trayvon. Apparently not old and 30 like me, but just young and doing it. Do you got any advice, man, for someone that's contemplating jumping off with their own idea, their own spark, their own creative project on the horizon?
I would say do it and talk about it and be confident in it. The reason being is because you'll notice that whenever you put your idea out there, so like when we first started our idea, we started as a full scale security company. We were going to do cameras, we were going to do glass break sensors, we were going to do sensors on doors, sensors on all this. And it was through collaboration, it was through conversation, it was through learning, it was through trial and error that brought us to realize, like, man, you don't have to reinvent the entire wheel. You can just add your one little unique piece on it, and it can make just as much as an impact. So, like, I don't have to go produce all this stuff because Ring, Simply Safe, and all these other people do it. We're not trying to match that market. We're just trying to make it easier for people. So I think that what a lot of people need to do is, people have very, very good ideas. They just don't talk about their ideas enough. So I think that people, if you got an idea, you have to talk about it, but you have to be consistent with it too. You have to lock in on it, and it's really consistency. It's consistency at the end of the day. It's just, that's with anything though. It's consistency. Just do it though. You have to do it, and yeah. Because if you just think about an idea, it's gonna always sound good until you really get into the mix of it, and then when you really get in the mix of it, that's when you realize, like, okay, this idea is very good, or this idea, we need
Yeah.
to trash it. So
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
but it's not until you do it. I think that everybody at least needs to try it once. At least try it once. At least.
Trayvon Brook, champ, fighting out of Northern Kentucky, SafeWave Technology. If someone listening to this right now, they want to connect with you or learn more about the bands, how they go about doing that, good sir.
Yeah, so you can learn more about just SafeWave itself at www.safewavetech.com. My name is Trevon Brook, which my handle is just my name. Is the name gonna be shown on there? Cause my
Yeah.
name is okay, good. Cause I was gonna say that there's no way that they're gonna.
I'll
I'm
put
about
in
to
the
lose.
show notes. Don't worry about it.
Dope. Yeah, but my name's just my handle on there, man. But I'm open to anybody that's just any type of conversation, whether it's innovation conversation or any type of business owners that just want to talk, man. I'm down for all that. I think it's any type of collaboration is dope. But yeah, man. And I told you I was gonna have a question for you, man. And I don't even want to
Oh,
put you
wow.
on the spot, but you
No,
put me
do
on the
it. Do
spot. I
it.
told you. But
All
yeah,
right.
man. So what made you kind of jump off the porch and want to go and do what you're doing, like
Oh,
with the
wow.
podcast? What made you want to do
Well,
this?
the podcasting itself was definitely the pandemic, right? Because I did stand up, and people who listen to the show hear the story a bunch of times, but I've been told I was not essential. And so the first 40 episodes of the show was me asking other creatives, are you essential? What makes you essential? And it kind of grew from there. But as far as like the self-employed entrepreneurship route, I had a day job where I sold hand sanitizer door to door. This is before the pandemic, so no one cared. And I said this wasn't the way. Like, hand sanitizer is totally utilitarian. Either you like Purell or whatever's cheapest. There's no one that has no one is like, I'm a Germix guy, but I was my job to go, hey, look, try something else. And so I go, I don't want to do this. I want to be in charge of things that are unique. I get to be myself. I get to wear a t-shirt if I want to. You know what I mean? And I just made it find a way. A lot of ways, not to speak for you, but I feel like a lot of ways entrepreneurs are kind of like pirates, man. You get a boat, you go out in the water, and we're like, well, let's go find land. and
There
there's
you
some
go.
rough
Yeah.
seas, but we just do it. Yeah.
No, 100%, man. Yeah, 100%. So, are you glad? So, my next question then follow up with that, and then I'll let it be.
Nah,
Are
it's
you
cool, man.
glad? Are you glad? Are you glad? Do you think the pandemic helped with your creative side of what you're doing, or do you think do you think it was a necessity to get you to where you are?
It's a hard question to answer because people did die, all right? But I always say, like, it reminds me, I'm into Formula One, but when I was in college, I went to college in the South, NASCAR was big. I lived about 40 miles from Daytona. It was kind of like a safety lap, right? And some cars lose ground and some cars gain ground. And I was fortunate enough to gain ground because I thought about having my own network of entertainment, but that was like a pipe dream until I was in my room going, what am I doing? I host 7 podcasts now. One of my shows are on Spotify. Like, it is built because of that. I had the time at home. So I get to go to bed the good tired. Like, I'm exhausted, but it's not work because it's like, hey, man, I did something compared to me calling up a hospital saying, I know you heard of Gojo, but do you have our sanitizer? That was the bad tired. That was, what am I doing for this check tired? And that sucked.
See, that's the best thing of it, man. So you even answered one of the last questions, man, that you gave me. It's just, even when you're not working, man, even when you're off, you're working because it feels good. It doesn't feel like work. So
yeah, absolutely, man. Oh, question. If you had a chance to go to a concert this year, who'd you go to?
Oh, man. If I had a chance to go to a concert this year, who would
Anyone.
I go to? Oh,
Front row,
that's
backstage.
front row, backstage, man. I would say Kanye West.
Okay, all right.
Kanye, man. I would say Kanye.
Hey, tortured artist, man. He's the Picasso of our time, whether you like him or not.
There you go, man. Brilliant man.
Oh, man, Trevor, thanks so much for being on the show, man. I want you back when the launch rolls out because this is going to be a good thing. It's going to be a game changer for a lot of people here.
Awesome, man. I appreciate your time, brother. I appreciate the time. We'll talk soon.